777-1600, 777-1600, our number if you have a concern that Mr. Wells can help you with. We're here to do that today, and if you're in the neighborhood, come on by and say hello. We're at the 8th Annual Quintator Blood and Marrow Drive at First Baptist Church here in Kernersville for a very worthy cause. You know, Mike, I was reading some about this, and you and I do a number of events like this for these nonprofits. You a whole lot more than I do. But they were saying that this is one of the biggest in Northwest North Carolina as far as a single-day event for the Red Cross.
Well, and I think this is in this Quinn's home church.
I believe so.
It is, and this is a wonderful church. Years ago, in fact, I came out here and spoke to their stewardship banquet. It's just a great spirit. But just to kind of give you an example, I give blood, and it's just not a hard thing to do. But to give you an example, when I go my normal 10-week rotation in Winston-Salem, I'm generally about the 50th. That just kind of works out, 45th to 50th person who gives blood. So if you give a pint, right? So that's 50 pints on a normal day for the Red Cross blood place is 50 pints. So when you get 200 pints at a remote location, in the middle of the summer, that just gives you the idea of the depth and strength of the commitment here of this church and this community in Kernersville to our good friend Quinn Taylor. So at any rate, but I would encourage all of our listeners, if you haven't given blood before, really come down here. It takes about an hour, even if you've never given blood, and just find out about it. It's a wonderful thing. They give you all these free treats and all that you normally wouldn't be allowed to eat. But you got to eat because it's like doctor's orders kind of thing. So cookies and oatmeal cookies that you couldn't normally justify.
TJ's hating us. We're talking about food, and he said,
"Hey, we got to eat it. We got to eat that because we got to
sample it. Got to keep our strength up, even though we haven't given blood this morning." Gene, you're on WSJS with Mike Wells. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
We're putting a sewer line across my property, and we're negotiating, and if we don't come to an agreement in another couple of weeks, then they're going to go to condemnation procedures. And I just wondered, if we don't, what does that involve? Do you have to go to court or the court hearing, or what does condemnation procedures involve?
Is this city or county? Who's this for?
It's city of Winston-Salem.
Okay.
City, county.
Yes, sir. It is going to go to court, and basically what happens is the city is allowed what's called quick take if they go under those statutes, which they normally do, that says essentially they file the lawsuit and the property actually gets transferred to the city so that they can proceed on with the sewer line. And then the issue of what the price is something that would be passed on by a jury about the value of the land that they're quote taking from you. So that's generally what happens on it. The city, I know, works very hard to try to accommodate people and to be fair about what's a fair value. But generally, the issue about whether they can take it or not is not an issue. In other words, as long as it's a valid public purpose under the Constitution, and that is generally pretty broadly construed, then they would have the right to take it, and then it's just a question of price. But I would continue to try to work with them. And do you have a real estate person or somebody that can give you some idea of what is a fair price for you?
Not yet, because I just, that you don't know what to do in a case.
Right. I think I would check with a real estate person who might give you some idea of what's a fair figure for that, and you might want to check with a commercial real estate person who deals, in other words, companies often have to deal with those kinds of issues maybe more than homeowners. And somewhere down the road you may need an attorney, but I think what I would try to do, if it's an easement taking, unless there's complicated issues, it may be that you can talk with a lawyer, I guess, but I'd check with the real estate person first to see if they're treating you fairly. My experience over the years with the city on these kinds of things is they work really hard to try to be fair to folks. And I don't know whether they are here, but they work at it. I mean, they take it very seriously, the issue of fairness. So, but reasonable minds differ. I've had issues with them where we disagreed and we had to talk about it, and so But I check with a commercial real estate person to try to give you some help on that. But it would go to court if you don't get it settled.
Right, very good, and I appreciate the information.
All right,
And,
good luck to you. I hope it works out.
All right, thanks for calling, Gene. 777-1600, 777-1600. Richard, you're on WSJS.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I got a question.
All
I
right.
contracted with a builder to build a house. He owns the land, and when we came to do the walkthrough, the floor that he represented we were getting wasn't what we got. So we've refused to close. So what options do we have?
Is there a written contract that provides about what kind of floor you're supposed to get?
Yeah, we got samples when they done it. When the samples were picked out, he's called the manufacturer in, who came in and said, well, knot holes are knot holes on oak floors. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
But it doesn't represent the sample that they have on the internet nor the sample that the builder showed.
Well, I think if you have a contract that says a certain price range is set, and the contractor showed you the sample, and you relied on that sample, and it turns out to be something different, I think you've got something to fuss about. Do you have an attorney yet that's doing the closing for you?
I have a real estate attorney here in High Point that's closing for me.
All right, and he's your lawyer, he or she?
Well, he's my real estate lawyer.
All right, well, I'd get up with them to see if they can carry some of the water for you on there, but I think you've got something to fuss about from what you've outlined.
Thanks for calling. Turn your microphone, Gerald. Thanks for calling, Rich. We got to get out of here. About 20 seconds left. Seminars coming up.
Seminars coming in a couple of weeks in the great state of Louisville. And again, I encourage everybody to go to wellsjenkins.com, and they can hear the Lone Lawyer.